Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's watching and listening right now in the podcast. Today is Sunday, February 8, 2026. I'm here to speak about a breakthrough that came in technology and also using AI. AI, um, using AI for technology and a 3D printer. And the reason that I'm going to speak about that because if you've been listening to me for a while, you can probably tell from some of the videos that I created that sometimes I can be a little bit against AI, and then there are things that are very positive about it, and that's why we have to not necessarily just put it aside. This is just my opinion because even if I make a lot of videos using AI, people still want to bash it down and say don't use AI for this, don't use AI for that. And sometimes you have to look at it like it has a lot of positive things, and this is the world right now, right? And technology is advancing super fast, right? And we just have to be paying attention. So that's what I'm gonna speak to you guys about before I continue. Of course, thank you so much to everybody who has been following me, Julissa Designs podcast using Spotify. If you're listening to the podcast using Spotify, you follow it. Every time I make a new episode, you get a notification. And also everybody who is watching and listening using YouTube and YouTube podcasts, thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about me and what it is that I do with the Julissa Designs brand, you can just visit the main website, which I usually put it here in the bottom, and it's JulissaDesigns.com for those who are listening. So, on my YouTube channel, excuse me, I can't talk today. On my YouTube channel, I get a lot of pushback a lot of the times with the comments when it comes to the videos that I create using AI. And people, you know, this is how I look at it, guys. The enemy, I don't want to say, before they cancel this video, the enemy always has always used things of God for his purpose, for to to pervert it, to advance his own kingdom. I'm talking about the enemy. The big example is the music, right? And I'm using AI to spread the gospel, right? So that's why you have to look at it that way. Because people say, it's AI sometimes can be demonic and things like that, but you have to use it the right way and you have to use it to advance the kingdom. And think about it, this is the main reason why I probably use it, is because I see everything that the enemy has done with the things of the Lord, right? When it comes to like music is a big example, right? We see all these artists being followed by massive of people, and then they are worshiping the enemy instead of the Lord, right? And God is the one who created music, right? And who gives the talents and all of that stuff. So that's kind of like my view when it comes to like using AI. And I also like learning new things, technology, and the world is advancing super fast. And it's so crazy right now because most people walk around with a $1,000 phone in their hand, right? I'm just showing you the cover because I'm using the phone to record. So a lot of people walk around using $1,000 phone, and they are, I'm completely against AI. I'm completely against this, and then they walk. I mean, they're driving like super fancy cars that are electric, and you wouldn't think. People are so quick to form an opinion without even realizing how much AI we already use in our day-to-day life, right? How much advanced technology we already use. For example, even like the musicians at churches, they use a lot of AI to create the fancy sounds, right? To auto-tune their voices, to make the voices emotional enough, right? I'm not saying every church does this, right? But it's been going on. Had you asked a pastor how much AI they use to prepare a sermon? Right? So sometimes it's so quick, people are so quick to judge something that they say, don't use AI for this and this AI of that, just because somebody's coming publicly and clearly showing you something that was developed using AI, and they immediately bash it. But the people that keep it secret, because a lot of pastors, they're not going to show you how much AI they use to create their sermon, right? And because you don't know, right? You never you will think, oh yeah, that pastor, they're always they don't use AI. They don't use AI in this church. They don't use any of that stuff, right? But sometimes, as you come being genuine and being open about what you're using, people immediately bash it, right? Because you're trying to be authentic and still, they still bash it, right? But whether you use AI for certain things or not, that's just your decision, right? You guys already know, like I just said, the reason why I use it. When it comes to like creating content and things like this, I think that the enemy has long enough used a lot of the things of the Lord to spread his own kingdom, to distort a lot of stuff. And that's kind of like my take on it. But not all advanced technology is bad. There's a lot of positive things, right? There's a lot of good that comes out of it. We can be, you know, it's so crazy that we are in 2026 and there's so many people against everything. Like I said, they pick and choose, right? So they criticize the people that are not for it, or they are 100% for it, but they're like, oh, I don't use AI, I don't have social media, I don't do any of that stuff, I don't even watch YouTube, and they walk around with $1,000 phone in their hand. Oh no, I need my phone, right? Like they're always, it's like they pick and choose, and then the crazy thing about that, we have to be so careful bashing somebody down. While you still, in some way, you still use AI, you still use advanced technology. You drive a brand new car that needs electric charging, right? It's so many things, right? And I was reading this article about it, like I was saying, something in a doctor. Listen to this. When I saw this, I was like, "This is crazy." A girl, 17 years old, was shotting her in her face by her boyfriend back in the fall, right? In the fall season. That's what I meant to say. And doctors were able to use AI and a 3D printer to create the perfect new job for her, right? And I'm gonna do a parenthesis here because something just came to my mind. And like I said, trying to keep myself honest here. As much as I like AI, I'm still not like I like learning new things about AI and technology, how advanced it is. I'm gonna be very clear here. I don't like when it's used to like not replace God, but to create this type of oh, we're gonna, you can pick and choose how you want your baby to be. Things like this. I think I made an episode about that a couple months ago, where they're creating, you can pick how you want your baby, your newborn to be, right? You want him to be 6 foot tall, to be, you know, in love with basketball. That's a little too much right there. That's why, there are good things, like I said, about AI, good positive things, and there are things that you're like, okay, this is where I draw the line. I'm not interested in this part of it, right? And this is where you have to be so careful and ask God for discernment. Something like that when it comes to like picking the hair color, the eye color, and being so like that's God's, that's how God that's what God does, right? And just, there is a program already out there being offered to new parents about, if you want your child to develop this love for basketball, so when he's older, he can play professionally or whatever, right? He can be very tall and things like this. That's a little too much, right? In my opinion, for my decision, I will never do anything like that, right? So that's what I mean, and that I wanted to make that parenthesis just to keep myself here, being honest. But let me read to you guys. Like I said, she's 17 years old and got shot by her mother's ex-boyfriend. So it wasn't even her boyfriend, her mom ex-boyfriend, during a domestic dispute just days before. Excuse me, just days before her birthday in October 2025, and the bullet shattered her jaw into tiny fragments and damaged 4 of her teeth. And she said it was kind of scary. She said while speaking to the outlet, it was traumatic. Dr. Simon Wright, a facial reconstruction trauma surgeon, is now using revolutionary new technology to give her a life-changing new jaw. Wright explained to the outlet that previously he had reconstructed the facial bones by shaping titanium plates by hand, a process which he admitted was both time-consuming and yielded imperfect results. There is always a level of dissatisfaction, and it doesn't feel good to do something just good enough, he said. And this time, however, the surgeon and his team were able to use AI to create a scan of her face. Then they sent the scan to a lab in Jacksonville, Florida. Listen to this, where a 3D printer was able to create a jawbone plate perfectly customized to her needs. It's so much easier than trying to bend a plate to get it perfect. It's no question, it's a game changer. Game changing. So wow, that's pretty amazing. And um, just even reading that briefly, that's pretty amazing. But you have to also think about how do they create dangers for people, right? I know they use probably mold, and mold to like fill it with some type of um, I know nothing about that. So I'm gonna use just like how I imagine in my head some type of clay molding that they put in a mold container, and then that's how they able to create like their what are those called, those the fake dentures for people. I know there's a name for it, technical name for them. So it says here that the ability to make a custom plate has been around for 10 years or more, but the ability to do it very quickly has not been. He added that the new technology serves as a reminder of the importance of supporting medical research initiative. And I think this is the positive, one of the positive things when it comes to advanced technology and AI. Like they were able to create that for her. People are missing limbs, right? A leg, an arm. You see those people when they're doing physical therapy, and you see them with this kind of like robotic type of arm and leg, and you're like, wow, that's so amazing, right? It's kind of like giving these people's life back, right? That's the type of technology and AI that I appreciate. When it's able to resolve a problem, I think in a lot of, you know, in a lot of things, it does resolve problems, right? It makes life easier. Things are probably perhaps were kind of hard to do, right? Let me continue to read here. She's a high school junior who plans to graduate early and now expected to make a full recovery. Thanks be to God. She said, I just thank God every day for giving me a second chance at life. She told the news, I'm very grateful. I can tell my story and spread the word of God. I mean, look at this. That's amazing. And spread the word of God with this story like a testament. That's amazing. I didn't read that far before I came in here and make this video. But this is her goal, right? Her goal is to, number one, she's very grateful for everything that she got a second chance in life. And she said, I cannot tell my story and spread the word of God with this story like a testament. That is amazing, right? She also will soon receive dental implants to replace her four missing teeth, she said there. So this is what I'm talking about, right? Because some people, like I said, they immediately bash it down, right? They see how somebody say, oh yeah, that's all AI. This is all bad. AI, just stay away from AI. This and the other. Um, like there are things that are very positive, right? And thanks be to God for her to be given that second chance, and now she's gonna use it to glorify the Lord, right? She said to spread the word of God. That is amazing, and this is something that we cannot forget. At the end of the day, guys, it's 2026, and everything is changing so fast, right? Everything's changing so fast. Sometimes when we see change in something, we get so concerned. We're like, um that's just scary. How they're able to do something like that? That's so scary. But if you really put yourself to kind of like, I want to learn it, right? I want to learn how they do this, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is not that hard to do, and thanks God that we have this quick thing that we can pick up and like, man, I just, I can make a video with the Bible verse and it's going to reach so many people. And it took me how long to do, right? That's how we have to look at it. And we also have to kind of go with what is improve, what's technology, where we're moving forward, right? Because, you don't want to be deceived either, right? You don't want to be deceived either, but it's almost like reading the Bible. You don't want to be deceived then, but how will you know if you're being deceived if you don't know the Word of God, right? How you think you're not going to be deceived by AI if you don't know nothing about it because you're like, I don't want nothing to do with it, but you don't even know what it's about or what can be done with it. So I think this is an example how we should be moving forward with the times, meaning learning new things, being interested in what's coming up next, right? And just you know don't be so like against something just because in your mind it looks kind of hard or difficult when it's really you can take like 10 minutes to read an article and then download an app and be like, oh my goodness, I see what they're saying now, right? And it's not it's not as hard as sometimes as it might seem. So I'm gonna read two comments because I know my heater just went up here, and I'm sure it's probably hard to hear, but it says here, "You're a miracle and you have a purpose in this world." That is amazing, right? Imagine, okay, this just came to my mind. Imagine if she came from a family who'd be like, you know what? Don't let them do that to you because that's all AI. A 3D printer using AI to reconstruct your thing. Don't let them do that to you. I'm so against it. That AI is so demonic. Everything is so bad. And look, now she's expected to have a full recovery, right? So another person said, "Beautiful girl, wonderful doctor. Wish her nothing but the best." So this is a great story. I'm so thankful that that she was given this opportunity for them to do that for her. They said this thing has been available for 10 years. AI, right? So we know 3D printers have been available for a long time by now. They knew this was available for 10 years to create something like this, but it was very tedious. And like the doctors say, will come out some imperfect, right? Even though they were so tediously about it so long hours, and still it's not perfect. And AI made it possible like that, right? Probably not a quick snapping your fingers, but it made it possible sooner. And now she's expected to receive a full recovery. That is amazing. A lot of the time, we don't believe or wish against something until somebody in our family needs it, right? Like another leg or an arm or things like this that a lot of people are probably praying for it. Now, it's all about making it more affordable, I guess. Right? So we're very happy to hear her story. Let me know, guys, what you think about this. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody who's watching. Excuse me, who's listening in the podcast. Have a good day. God bless. Hi, everybody. This is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I hope to see you on the next video. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.